Welcome, professionals, young and old, male and female, everything in between, except for the politicians, because fuck you, politicians. And welcome! And welcome to the Totally Professional Gaming Best Games of the Decade! I should probably just edit in some applause.
There's a motorbike just went past my window as well, I don't know if you heard it.
If not, I'll edit that in as well. So, this is what we spoke about in our previous video, talking about our favourite games from every single year of this decade, because we want to keep some positivity in this channel, and keep the world nice and happy. So yes, let's waste no time and start, as always, as you should do, at the beginning of the decade, 2010. When I was looking back on 2010, it was a good year for games. It was a really good year for games. And I had a really hard time picking from this list. So I do want to quickly run off some honourable mentions. Skate 3, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Limbo, Red Dead Redemption, Sonic Colors, Epic Mickey. But there was one game that eclipsed them all, because it was just fun, and it was stupid and funny, and it was Capcom at one of its best. So my award for the best game for 2010 is Dead Rising 2. A lovely, lovely zombie slay 'em up. Just going into a small room, combining a sledgehammer with a chainsaw, and then running around to, like, the happiest theme you could think of. Maybe, like, sticking on Lively Lumpsucker in the background and just swinging your way through hordes of zombies is one of those gaming experiences that I will never forget. So thank you very much, Capcom, and thank you. Phil, what is your choice for 2010?
My Game of the Year 2010 is quite simply one of Nintendo's very best, and for me that is Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Oh.
I played a lot of Super Mario Galaxy 2. Hayley and I used to play it sitting in her lounge on the Wii, playing Super Mario Galaxy 2. Just the variety and the colourfulness and the fun of it all. It was just perfect. Honestly perfect. I could not floor it in any way, and that's where I'm going to leave it. There's no more hype I can do for it. So that's it, Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Fantastic. So, we move a year ahead into the year of 2011. The PS3 is still alive and well. It's still doing its thing, and it's doing good. It's a happy time. It's a happy time. So, Phil, as I went first last time, what is your choice for Game of the Year for 2011?
Now, this was very difficult because, as you know, two of my favourite games of all time were released in 2000. That was that motorbike again.
Yeah, I just heard that.
In 2011, and after a lot of deliberation and a lot of going round and round in my head, I could only give it to Portal 2.
Yeah.
Because Portal 2 is a masterpiece. For the record, the other game was Batman Arkham City, and I kind of liberated myself of the guilt of not giving it that by giving Rocksteady the Best Developer Award in the last video. Spoilers if you've not watched that one.
Link in the description if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, Portal 2 is just a masterpiece. The scale of it compared to the first one, it's very difficult sometimes to take something so small as the original Portal and scale it up and keep the quality, but oh my god, it was just perfect.
So, 2011 was a tough year for me as well. Like, there were so many great games that came out in 2011. And again, got to give honourable mentions to Arkham City, and I know you're going to hate me for this, but honourable mention to Portal 2.
How dare you?
Honorable mention to Dissidia Final Fantasy, and even Dark Souls and Skyrim I didn't quite think were good enough to be my best game of the year. And some people will probably tell me that I'm stupid for putting this game above those two, but I enjoyed it more. It's more my style of game. I loved it. I love the art style. I love the fact that one of my favourite movie studios of all time had a hand in it. So, my game of the year for 2011 is Ninokuni Wrath of the White Witch. A beautiful game, stunning visuals, great story, weird combat. I will admit, the combat was a bit weird. It was kind of a hybrid of turn-based and real-time. But I loved it. I thought it was great. I played the game a lot. I sunk a lot of hours into that game. And then I lost my copy of the game. And then I bought it again a couple of years ago. And played it again. And it was really, really good. I still haven't played Ni no Kuni 2. I really should, because I've heard it's fucking great. But yes, Ni no Kuni 1 was the tits. It was the tits. So, we move on to the year 2012, and apparently what was going to be the final year of the decade, because everybody was going to die.
And then they didn't.
And then we didn't, because we're here in 2019, possibly 2020 if you're watching this video in however many days it is until the new year. If you are watching this in the new year, ooh, I'm in the future. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
You're not in the future, technically, are you? You're in the past.
I'm in the past! Shut up, Josh. Shut up. Stop talking. Best game of 2012. This year I found there wasn't that many games that I was really into. It was a surprisingly quiet year for 2012. I think 2012 was kind of a catch-up year for me. I spent a lot of time catching up on games that I hadn't played yet. But there were some standouts. So, once again, unfortunate honourable mentions to Mass Effect 3 and Borderlands 2. There was one game that beat you out, and that was Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 is the best Far Cry game. I don't care what anybody says, fuck you, fight me. Far Cry 3 took... The Far Cry 3 gave a character to this face that you're carrying. Like, you built into this, like, killing machine, this guy that was so capable of saving his friends. Like, when you first got on the island, you were next to useless. You were next to fucking useless. And then you got all of these skills, all of these abilities, and you just became a hunter. And the story was great. The background missions were great. The driving was Ubisoft, so it wasn't great. But it worked. It all worked so well. And I still remember the little sick, sadistic little giggle I had when I first crashed a hang glider and then pressed to heal, and he popped his thumb back into place. Another gaming memory that I will never lose. So, Phil, what is your best game of 2012?
My best game of 2012 is one of my favourite games of all time, and is a game that I have sunk a ridiculous amount of hours into, and that is what you're going to say. Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
There we go. It was one of your honourable mentions, but oh my god, I have played it. I think I've played it about 5 times now.
Gee, really?
The first time with Haley, going through it all. You know, I've played it with you, I've played it on PC, I've played it with other friends. We played it again recently, played the DLC that came out recently, because they released DLC before Borderlands 3, because why not? I've got it on PC, PS3, PS4. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful collection of humour and gunplay and just fun, and that is why it is my game of the year for 2012.
All right. So now we move into 2013. The year I turned 18, funnily enough. What a great year. What a great year. Didn't really make a difference. I don't drink, so it's like, great, I've hit another milestone. Woohoo! So, Phil, what is your choice for game of 2013?
I mean, there can be only one without sounding too overdramatic, and it's Grand Theft Auto 5. It's Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, it remains one of the best games ever made. Please see all reasons from the previous video as to why I love it. We keep going back to it. Can't put it down. It matched the hype and more, and it spawned this channel. So that's it.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. So 2013, again, another phenomenal year of games. Payday 2, Bioshock Infinite, Rayman Legends, The Last of Us, Stanley Parable, Saints Row 4, Papers, Please. Oh, just so many amazing games that year. But there was one that topped the list. And that is the game that introduced me to a brand new franchise. My choice for game of 2013 is Tales of Xillia. The first Tales game I ever played. A fantastic introduction to the series. Again, just a series that has interesting characters, great plot, really, really beautiful art style. Like, oh my gosh, a gorgeous art style. And yeah, I somehow managed to pick up a day one copy of the game 3 years after it had released, which I think is one of the best buys that I've ever made. Yeah, I love the game so much. I think it's one of the best JRPGs I've ever played. It's fantastic. So, we move on to 2014. I can't think of anything interesting to say about 2014, so we'll just jump straight in to my choice for Game of the Year 2014. I keep thinking about 2013 because of Tales. Such a good game. So, great. Another really solid year for gaming. Not the best, but solid, decent enough. You had Dark Souls 2, Shovel Knight, Alien Isolation, which remains one of my favourite horror games of all time, but once again, there was one that topped the rest, and it is the game I keep going back to. And that is GTA 5, but specifically the next-gen console release. The fact that they...
Ah, you jammy bugger.
I found a loophole! But
I mean,
seriously...
you made the rules. It's not a surprise when you find loopholes.
But in all seriousness, while GTA 5 was great on previous gen, on PS3... I've sunk the most hours into the PS4 version because there's just so much more to do with it. They don't support the online for the previous versions anymore. There's been some phenomenal updates for GTA 5 on PS4 and Xbox One and PC, obviously. But I only play the PS4 version, so I don't really care about the others. But, as you say, it birthed this channel. It birthed totally professional gaming. And for that, it's got to be the best. So, Phil,
that's fair enough.
What is your choice for 2014?
This will come as no surprise to followers of this channel. But my game of the year 2014 is... Oh, fuck you, Tuka. It's Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Oh my god, the game is beautiful. This is another game I bought on PC. I pre-ordered on PC and was another shed loads of CDs, and I played it for a bit on PC, and then I got my PS3 and I was like, oh, I'll be PS3. And then I think I got it on PS3 and it ran like dog shit. And then I got it on PS4 and the rest is history. You can see me playing it on the channel. You can see me picking flowers and beheading arseholes. But it's beautiful. And the Nemesis system is still one of the best gaming systems in recent memory. I mean, it birthed the idea of going, I'm going to walk down here and, oh, hang on, that guy over there, I've fought before, but it'll be fine. I'm sure he won't recognise me. And then him turning around and going, my name's Tuka, and you going, oh Good Lord, no. Or anything else. I mean, Josh could splice in footage, but I'm not going to make him do any more editing. So that's it. That is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor.
So we move on to 2015. 2015, a weird year. A weird year,
Yeah.
from what I remember. From what I remember
It's a
of it.
quiet year for video games.
Well, I'd say it's a quiet year for AAA video games. There were still some amazing games that came out that year, and I'm going to talk about them. Well, actually, you're going to go first to talk about them. Right
I
now.
am, and my one's gonna. It might surprise people, to be fair, because it surprised me. There were 2 years. There's 2 years, this year and next year, that surprised me. And actually, I fixed next year about an hour ago before we started this video because I remembered something else. Anyway, this year, 2015, my game of the year is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. And I didn't know it was that until I looked through the list and I went, you know what? I bloody loved that game. I 100%ed that game. I played it to death. I absolutely loved it. I mean, Victorian era London, climbing over rooftops and, you know, sliding through houses and beating up people in London. It was beautiful, and it was everything that Assassin's Creed does well. So that's why it's that.
Okay. So, yeah, I can't really argue with that. Assassin's Creed Syndicate was great. I haven't finished it yet. I've only played like a very, very small amount of it. It's one of the games I need to go back to and actually complete, because it's one of the few Assassin's Creed games I haven't actually played. But again, solid year. Not many AAA titles coming out. There were some games that I played though. J-Star's Victory Versus, a great anime fighting game. Sword Art Online Re-Hollow Fragment, a port from one of the Japanese PS Vita titles. Again, really, really great. Really enjoyed it. Tales of Zestiria, again, another part to the Tales series, which again I really love. I really like the Tales series. But I'm coughing apparently. But there was a game that topped them all. Not just for the gameplay, not just for the story, but for the memories that I have playing this game. And that game is Dragon Ball Xenoverse. The first Dragon Ball Xenoverse game was a revolution. The combat system was fantastic. It took everything that I love about the Dragon Ball franchise and put it in a game. And I will never forget the nights playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse in my uni halls with a couple of my uni friends, trying desperately to like act out and make these fights as epic as they were in the anime, and failing miserably, but having great fun with it anyway. Absolutely fantastic game. It was one of the games that I completed it. I played it to death. I absolutely love that game. So yeah, that's my 2015 game of the year. So now we move on to 2016, the year where everybody died.
Oh, Jesus, I'd forgotten about that.
It's fucking true though, isn't it? It's so true.
It is. It is.
Oh man. But on the flip side of that, what a year for gaming. Oh my god, what a year for gaming. Oh, some of the best games came out in 2016. Love it. Absolutely love it. So, I'm going to run down my favourite games of this year, or my best game of this year. But, obviously, mentioning some of the best games of that year: Battlefield 1, Dark Souls 3, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and, of course, The Last Guardian, which was... it was just slipped short of the best game spot for 2016, because there was one that I enjoyed a lot more, and it's one game that I still keep going back to. It's a game that I've gone back to very, very recently, in fact. And that game is Final Fantasy 15. Oh my god, what a game. Oh my god, the story, the characters, and the retooled combat system made this game so freaking good. Just the fact that it was just built around these four friends, these four people, and their mission to go and get their friend hitched, and then everything just happens in between. There's intrigue, there's death, there's conspiracy, there's hallucinations. It's just, just so fucking good. And it's a game that, admittedly, I still haven't completed. Because I got quite close to completing it, and then I dropped the game for a while, and then recently, I tried to pick up from where I left off, and I was like, I don't remember anything that I've done in this game. So I've started it again. And it's really great. I really, really love this game. It's top notch. It's fucking brilliant. So that's my choice for 2016. Will say though, Last Guardian, very, very close second. Phenomenal game. I love The Last Guardian. But anyway, enough about me. Phil, what is your choice for 2016?
Now, like I said a minute ago, 2016 I struggled with because there weren't a lot of games I played from that year. I mean, I did play Final Fantasy 15. It's a wonderful game. I did, until about an hour and a half ago, have a different one as my top one. And I'm going to just mention it mainly because I feel bad that the original of this game, the first in this series, wasn't even mentioned back in the year it was released because Borderlands 2 was so good. And so my honourable mention for 2016 is Dishonored 2. It was, as I said, it was my top game on this list until very recently. Dishonored 2 did everything Dishonored 1 did, but escalated it. And then I just went through the year, and I realised that there was one game that's still incredible, and it's Job Simulator. I mean, Job Simulator is how you do VR. I mean, you can put a VR headset on anyone and load up Job Simulator in that office, and people will be scanning their brains and throwing donuts at the people next to them in no time. It's incredible. And that's why it's my game of 2016.
Can't even argue with that. That is a great choice. That is an incredible choice. Wow. So yeah, we move on to 2017. Again, one of the most the last few years for gaming have been really good. Like really good. I'm like looking back on them, like obviously like so many news outlets want to talk about the bad games, and it makes you think that like the industry's going downhill and that there's so much shit going out there. But there are some genuine gems in there, and we're going to talk about the ones that came out in 2017 now. So Phil, what is your choice for 2017 Game of the Year?
My choice for 27 Game of the Year is 20. Did I say 27?
You did say 27. I tried to ignore it, and I'm giggling to myself.
Let's try again. My game for 2017 Game of the Year is just like a bad orc. It keeps coming back. It's Middle-earth Shadow of War, and I didn't realise until I did this list how much I love those games. Honestly, you know what? Shadow of War. My problem is this. Shadow of War would be my favourite game. I'd say it would be in my favourite games. It was my favourite game of the year. However, I've not finished it yet. I have done every trophy except complete the game 100%. I am lined up for that platinum trophy. I'm stood there, essentially, to use a golfing analogy, I'm stood over the hole with my club just next to the ball and no way of missing, and I've wandered off. My problem with it is the end. There is an end point where essentially they go, yeah, now do all of this 10 times. Okay. Now that's okay. That's fine. I understand that. There's a lot of intrigue. It's getting castles, etc. like that. But I can't sit down and repeatedly do something. I need space. I need space, Middle-earth Shadow of War. I need space.
It's not you, it's me.
But it's still just utterly incredible. And that's what's my 2017 Game of the Year.
Alright, well, again, 2017, solid year for gaming, a really, really good year for gaming, and I mean, great reason too. 2017 is the year the Switch came out, and because of that, we had some fucking fantastic games. Games like Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. It was actually the console that I first played Stardew Valley on. And then on the other side of things, you had games like Nier Automata. But there was one game. One game that topped the list. And if you know what game came out in 2017, it should be absolutely no surprise to you. My game of 2017, of course it is, it's fucking Persona 5. Because what else was it going to be? I love this game so fucking much. It's great. It's one of the best JRPGs of all time. Atlas, you have made something beautiful, and now you're bringing out Persona 5 Royal in the new year. You can have my wallet now. It's plain and simple. Like, Atlas now has to share a bed with Square Enix in the fact that I'm throwing both of them a ridiculous amount of my money now. Can't fault it in any way, shape, or form. I love Persona 5 so fucking much. And for anybody who's wondering who's played Persona 5, Futaba is best waifu. That's all I will say. Futaba is best waifu.
I don't know what that means.
Play Persona 5 and you'll know!
Jesus, okay.
So, we move on to... I said that really... So! So, we move on to last year, 2018. And again, what a year! What a solid year for games. Really, really fucking good year. So, it's kind of a spoiler already in this, because people who have watched last year's video that we did around this time will already know what the answer to this is. But once again, I will reiterate it. My honourable mentions for this year would be Spider-Man, God of War, Moonlighter, Smash Ultimate, and all the other games that I put on my top 10 list. Links to that in the description below if you can ignore how ill I was when I recorded that. My breathing was so heavy in that video, it was ridiculous. But anyway. My game of the year for that year was Octopath Traveler. I've mentioned it previously. Octopath Traveler came out of nowhere. There was like no hype for this game. And then it came out and it was one of the best JRPGs of all time. Really, really liked the way that it harkened back to an era of older style JRPGs like Final Fantasy V and VI. Really loved the 2D sprites and the 3D art style. Loved when you started a boss battle that you'd fight like a 10-foot tall version of that person that's so lovely, lovely detailed. It was great. It was absolutely fucking great. I loved it. So Phil, what is your choice for 2018?
I mean they already know. But
yeah, they do.
Anyway, I want to I would like to just change a couple of things, because when I recorded last year, firstly, I was doing it for a massive joke, what I was saying. But secondly, I hadn't played two of the best games that were released last year. So I want to just add them to my honourable mentions. So I have 4 honourable mentions from last year. I'm pretty sure I said 2, but I will add another 2. So my honourable mentions, as of last year, were Unravel 2, which was a fantastic co-op game that Haley and I loved playing through. Hello Neighbour, which honestly had me hooked for ages. And the 2 that I hadn't played at this point last year, but have now, that I need to mention, and Josh will be very happy, are God of War and Spider-Man, because, oh my god, they were just incredible. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Good. They're not as good, for me, as Spyro, the Trilogy wieder angesundet. Or... I did it in French last year. I thought I'd do it in German. There's a German theme going on here, isn't there? I thought I'd do it in German this year. It's quite simply Spyro, the Reignited Trilogy. And I don't need to say any more on this game because, oh my god, it was gorgeous. I'm sorry, I've broken you.
It just really caught me off guard. Oh my lord!
Now we come to this year. Now this year's interesting for me because I have bought, until about 4 hours ago, I had bought 2 brand new games this year. I had bought 2 games that were released this year. Just 2. I had bought and played 2 games. 4 hours ago, I bought a 3rd game. It's not my game of the year, don't worry. But I've sat and played it. It's fucking... So I need to give because I'm pretty sure we've got the same game of the year this year.
I would assume so.
So let's pull our honourable mentions and then we'll do our last game. So my honourable mentions, because I've only got 2 other games to compare it to, are Borderlands 3, which I have not finished yet, and therefore cannot be my game of the year, and Untitled Goose Game, which I've been playing for 4 hours. That's it. And honk honk memes galore. That's it. So Josh, what are your honourable mentions for 2019?
My honourable mentions, I've mentioned it previously. My honourable mentions go to Resident Evil 2 Remake for being the best remake. It's just fucking fantastic from all sides. And it goes to Jump Force. An anime fighting game done right. It was perfect. A fantastic, an absolutely phenomenal combat system. An absolutely phenomenal story. It was great. It was really, 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 really good. I do want to give a sort of like honourable mention for games I haven't played yet. I've heard very, very good things about Control, which I haven't played yet, but will do at some point, hopefully. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. I've got a laundry list of games I'm still trying to get, sorry. And as well as that, I wanted to give a little cheeky. I don't know why I'm saying it like that.
You're saying it like that because you're trying to find it on a list, aren't you?
No, I'm genuinely not. I'm just being weird. I'm just being really, really weird. The other game, this was more of a like, I'm glad I didn't pick this up game, and that goes to Anthem. Because I thought it was going to be really, really good, and then I was really sad that I didn't pick it up, and then I watched gameplay of it, and I went, dodged a bullet there. Cool.
That's fair enough. I also want to make a mention for a game that I badly want to play, but unfortunately can't purchase until next year, and that is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, because it looks incredible, and I've heard some great things, but obviously we can't reward it. Josh, are we ready for our game of the year? I mean, why are we doing a build-up? I mean, we're doing the same joke we did in the last video.
Yeah, everybody knows. Everybody fucking knows what it is. It's Kingdom Hearts 3. It's gotta be. The end of the Xehanort saga, and I have no complaints. Originally, I will admit, and you can attest to this, originally I wasn't a fan of the ending. But having had a bit of time away from it, because obviously you stuck with it, you 100%ed it. I haven't done so yet.
I've 100%ed it and platinumed it.
Yeah, which I haven't done yet. I do plan to at some point, but I haven't done yet. But having taken time away from it and played some other games and thought long and hard about the story, it's just fantastic. I couldn't have asked for a better end to the Xehanort saga. It's freaking great. And now next year we've got the Remind DLC, so that's going to be amazing as well. Can't complain about that.
Can we give a game of the year to a DLC?
It's our channel, we can do what the fuck we want.
And on that note, thank you so much, professionals, for sticking with us this year. If you have indeed, if you haven't, then what? There's a bit of a meta conversation going on here because you're not listening to me if you haven't, and
Well, yeah,
you
that's
are
true.
if you have. So those of you who are actually listening to me, whether you be actual friend or stranger on the internet who just enjoys watching people be idiots, thank you so much. And here's to another prosperous year, decade, century, millennium, whatever you want, of video games, because video games don't die.
Indeed. They just respawn.
Whee!
So take care, professionals. Thank you very, very much for watching. This will be the last video that we upload for 2019. We will be back in the new year at some point. I don't know when. Probably we'll put it on Twitter, maybe. Go follow us on Twitter. But thank you guys so much for watching and for sticking with us. And I do want to give a special shout out to Blues Dude, because he's always on top of our content, and it's awesome. It's cool. I really enjoy the fact that you enjoy our content so much. And yeah, here's to as we say, here's to a prosperous 2020. Here's to a prosperous future for the channel.
Cheers, professionals. See you later.
Bye.